Hey y'all, I got a little update for you. I just did a oil change on the G56 manual transmission and I changed it back to ATF+4. So this video is going to be about why I decided to do that. Let's walk over here, take a look. The number one reason why I did this was because of cold weather. And not even cold weather, like 65, 70 degree ambient temps. And you get in the truck here and you wouldn't even be able to use first gear, even in like 70 degree weather. You would be able to start in first gear, but then when you go for the second gear shift, it would be impossible to get it in second gear. You'd have to come to a complete stop, and then you could push it into second gear. So basically, first gear was useless, which was terrible if you were pulling out onto a steep incline on the highway like I do when I leave my neighborhood, or if you left the truck overnight with the trailer hooked up. That would be bad too. Furthermore, third gear, stiff. Definitely noticeably stiff, and your shifting was a lot slower. I would find that my RPMs were dropping before I could get into these gears when I first started driving the truck. It seemed like I was kind of rusty with my shifts, but in fact, it was just the cold weather. Not even cold weather, though, I'm saying. I'm down here on the Gulf Coast, and besides in the middle of summer, 50 weight had some noticeable drawbacks to it when it came to how stiff it was. So, for people up north, I don't think it's very good. I mean, even in the summertime, you probably would have some problems. And some people can mitigate that by cutting it with something, like putting some Synchromax or something in. That can help. But, so what's the deal with it as far as oils that were recommended versus not recommended? Chrysler said ATF+4. That's what came in this. Mercedes says 50 weight. But I'm kind of scratching my head because of the cold weather thing. Another thing about 50 weight is the heat. Since the 50 weight's so thick, it seems to trap more heat than ATF+4. ATF+4 would dissipate it. Furthermore, people tend to overfill with the 50 weight, and that's more heat trapping on top of it. So from a heat perspective, I don't think 50 weight's the best. And then you've got the cost. I did 7 quarts, of, because I overfilled by a quart, Schaefer 239S, which is an SAE 50. It performs just like the Exxon Mobil Delvac. But it was about 110 bucks. Delvac's going to run you about 120 bucks for an oil change. I just changed the oil with ATF for 36 bucks with Mopar ATF+4. And I just ran 6 quarts. The truck shifts great with ATF+4. I'm actually surprised. I thought that we would see a decrease in performance on the shifts, but we did not see that. Reverse seems to be the only gear that was really much better in with the 50 weight. Fifth gear, I used to get a knock on the shifter with ATF. That hasn't come back since I switched back to ATF, so I don't know. We're really just fine. In fact, I think the shifts are smoother with ATF. I can notice less resistance. So when you're going through neutral to your next gear, I feel less resistance in the shifter, which is a plus. So for the most part, I'm seeing positive effects from the ATF+4. But I have a dual mass flywheel stock style clutch. And a lot of people that upgrade to single mass and dual disc clutches need something for noise dampening. And that's why they like 50 weight, because it does dampen the noise, gear rollover noise. And furthermore, I think the 50 weight is slightly better. I don't think it's a world of a difference, but I do believe it's slightly better at actually protecting the internals of the transmission. The thicker oil, I think the transmission benefits from it, as far from a protection standpoint. Some people say none of the above. Now, neither manufacturer recommends something like, say, Fit 5W30 manual transmission fluid, but some people do run the AMSOIL MTF 5W30. Some people have tried gear oil, 75W90 gear oil, which is thinner than SAE 50. So it's not quite as thick. And then other people have tried Synchromax from Royal Purple, which I thought about trying that. I think that's not a bad idea. But, or trying to have, you know, pumped a couple quarts of my 50 weight out and put a couple quarts of Synchromax in and see about that. But at the end of the day, I went back to the ATF+4. And then there's Synchro Mesh from Pennzoil, which some people used to use years ago. It's not that popular anymore, but that was another option. And then some terrible options, don't try it. Gorilla Juice, extremely thick. It's probably thicker than 50 weight. Would not recommend that one. So I was thinking to myself, either I'm going to do the AMSOIL 5W30, which is supposed to be, you know, not have the shifting problems, but it's not recommended by either manufacturer, so I was on the fence about it. So at the end of the day, that's why I went to ATF+4. So I had a couple videos out about a year ago with the 50 weight, and I wanted to kind of follow it up now that I'm switching back over to ATF and explain why I did it. I think for my purposes, I mean, I pull this trailer, that's about all the more this truck does. So it really doesn't pull more than 10K max. And I think the ATF+4 does just fine. I think the transmission, I have a long life with the ATF+4. And it's not entirely unusual to have ATF in a manual trans. All right, y'all, I'm gonna cut this off at the 7-minute mark. I will see y'all in the next video. I'm getting back to new videos as the recovery from the hurricane is winding down now, or, you know, I'm starting to get things fixed. So more videos to come in the near future.